And so we're in the third principle where God smiles when we obey him wholeheartedly. But before I get into the sermon, I want to let you know that if you haven't gotten this series, you need to go back to YouTube and watch it. Because God smiles when we love him supremely. And that means when we love him above anything in our life. God smiles when we trust him completely. You see, I told God this. I said, God, this is your church. You don't pay the rent. The rent don't get paid. Takes all the pressure off of me of begging and taking 75 offerings. They had this man that blasted churches on Facebook, says, why when you walk into a church, you walk through the gauntlet, and there's sneakers for sale, there's this book, that CD, this thing, you can't even get into the sanctuary. It's like a flea market. And you know what God told me? He said, this is what pissed Jesus off.
That's right.
This should be a house of worship, and you have changed it into a den of thieves with buying and selling. What made Jesus mad in that text in the Bible is that they took the church and made it a swap meet.
Go ahead.
Now listen, shame on you churches that do that. You saw what Jesus, the Son of God, God manifested in the flesh as man, did about them. Did God change his mind? How do you feel about that? That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about obedience wholeheartedly, and we're going to talk about partial obedience. It's really disobedience. Oh my God. Let's just raise our hands. You partial people, raise your hand now. Get your hand up. I'm minus one of them. Come on. You know why? So that way when you get whooped today, you've already confessed. Okay? See how easy that was? That's what I did. I did it in reverse for you so you wouldn't have to cry. Because guess what? We're going to talk about a patriarch in the Bible that had partial obedience, and it cost him. Anyway, God smiles when we obey him wholeheartedly. Because I want to use the dictionary, because you know your pastor like dictionary, with the word wholeheartedly. You ready for it? It means fully or completely, sincerely, enthusiastic. It means energetic. Well, I gotta have energy in my obedience too. And hearty and earnest. God, how can we ever obey you with all that in it? Why the word wholeheartedly? Because it means fully, completely, sincerely, enthusiastic. I'm so excited to obey God today. I can hardly wait to obey him. And energetic. Oh, I just can't wait to go do what God told me to do today. I'm so excited about it. God says, stop sleeping with that person. I gotta be enthusiastic about that. Well, what about the booty, God? What about the booty? That's why you got all these problems right now, chasing the booty. Tell it, Pastor. Say it again. Got you too. I'll say it again. If it starts with the booty, it is with the booty. It's the truth, though. You know why I can say that? Because I've done it. I don't preach about nothing I ain't walked in. I don't preach a sermon that I ain't got preached to me yet. And every time God gives me these sermons, and even though some of the word is strong, guess what? I'm getting it while I'm making it. I'm getting it while he's giving it to me. Because see, I got to get it first before I can give it to you. Praise is what I do. Okay, so here we go. Noah was tasked. We've been studying about Noah. We've used Noah in this whole series, and he's going to be used in this whole series because Noah made God smile in many different ways. Noah trusted God completely, and we talked about that last week. He loved him supremely over everybody. And Noah was tasked with a great responsibility. God told him the how, right? He told him the where, right? He told him the when, and he told him the who is going to help you. You see, so God, when he told Noah something that he wanted him to do, even though it sounded astronomical, unconceivable, incomprehensible, it was beyond our understanding. Noah didn't go, what you say, God? Lord, is that you? No. He obeyed God wholeheartedly, down to the minute pain in the butt detail. You know, God gave him the who, the how, the when, and the where. And he gave it to him exactly how and when and where and who was going to help you. Who was going to help you, Noah? Just your 3 sons and your wife. You remember we went through that? Year 99, year 92, we still, Jennifer, hand me a small. Sharon, give me some blue. Martha, what time will we eat? And he went on for 120 years building the ark. But he stuck to the how. He stuck to the where. He stuck to the when and the who. He didn't change his plan after 120 years. He didn't be obedient for 82 years and a half. And then all of a sudden, at 103 years, he stopped building the ark. He trusted God. He loved God. And he obeyed God wholeheartedly, fully, completely, sincerely, enthusiastic, energetic, heartily, and earnestly. When you can learn to obey God like that, you don't think he's going to smile. You don't think he's going to open up heavens and bless your heart's desire. You don't think he's going to give you a bonus. He sure will. He'll give you something that you ain't even asked for. Right. Because he knows us better than we know ourselves. And he says, you know, my son and daughter will never ask for that because to them they might think that they're being materialistic. To them they might think that they're envying or being greedy. But you know what? You know what? I own the cattle on 10,000 Hill. I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am the one that made it be so. And if I say it, I have all the power. I have all the ability. I have all the strength. And I have all the authority to do what I please. And if I decide to bless my son and daughter because they have been obedient wholeheartedly, then say amen. Because when you're going around that, you something. Who gave you that? God did.
I hear you.
Well, did you go in debt? No. Did you get a loan? No. Did you really want it? No. He just said it's yours. Because maybe in the back of my mind I said, I got it. It showed you nasty. If I had one of those one day. And then God says, because of your obedience, because you always find a way to make this happen. Because what good thing would a father hold from his son if he asked? If it was in the will of the Father to bless the Son with what I have, why wouldn't I bless the good Son or the good God? Holy Spirit, bless him. And you run it out. Don't lose your mind though. Because God said his blessings make you rich and add no sorrow. So if your blessing turns on you, then it wasn't God, it was you that turned on the blessing. Oh, I don't think y'all heard that. That's a good one. You see, a lot of people, that's a whole other story. Listen, God gave Noah great details on everything that had to be done. Guess what? He gave him the details that God wanted him to do it exactly the way that God wanted it done. Not the way Noah wanted it done. I'm sure Noah wanted to hire about 100,000 men to help him with the gopher wood and glue. I'm sure Noah wanted to get this project done in 5 years instead of 120 years. I'm sure Noah wanted to do it. God, we could have did it this way. Why we got to do it that way? What are you to question God? Does the clay say to the pot, why have you made me this way? You better shut your mouth and walk back into obedience wholeheartedly. You see, not like we do. God tells us something, the who, the where, the how, the when, and we still don't follow instructions. You know why? Because we love to practice disobedience. And guess what? We're good at it. You see, disobedience takes time to develop. You got to know what obedience means before you can be disobedient. Usually disobedience falls in the line of selfishness, hard-headedness, stiff-neckedness, stubbornness. Very few disobedience falls under the category of ignorance and stupidity. Oh, you can't use that, I'm so sorry. Don't kid yourself. God is not mocked. You know right from wrong. It used to be at the age of accountability, you should be 12. But I think the age of accountability is now 5, because some of these 5-year-olds be running gangs. Woo, they got mama and dad down. Manipulation, extortion, blackmail, bribery, and temper tantrums. Watch me throw this fit. Watch I get what I want. Go tell the sister. Watch me do this. Really? You don't do that? And then show you. Listen. It's called, we're good at practicing disobedience, amen? And you know why? Because we're good at it. We're taught it. You know why we're taught it? Because somebody, somewhere in our life, taught us how to be disobedient. Then don't look at your sister. See, God didn't tell Noah to build any old boat. He didn't say, Noah, I just want you to go build this boat. He wanted Noah to do, and he gave him exact details, exact instructions of the size and the shape and the materials. And look, he even gave Noah the 411 on the animals. Now, Mom shared something important to me, and I want to tell you why the animals had to be paired in 2 by 2, male and female. Because sin and debauchery and wickedness was so distorted that men were having sex with men, and women were having sex with, and women were having sex with animals, and men were having sex with animals, and then a lion was having sex with a tiger, or a monkey was having sex with a rabbit. It was totally out of control. So God instructed him to go get a male and a female of the same kind. And that's how God killed that. Imagine wickedness was so prevalent that it even sifted into the animals, into every creation that God made. Why did you think that God wiped out everything? Think about that for a moment. That's absolutely true. For God to have to tell him the 411 even on the animals. You see, how did Noah respond to God? When God said, Noah, I'm going to build an ark in the dry land. Noah, I'm going to destroy the world. Noah, I want you to build it with these instructions. I want you to go down here, make a left, make a right, pick that up, don't do that. Stand right here and do exactly, Noah, as I instruct you to do, Noah. Noah, don't put your mind, take your mind, Noah, and throw it in the trash can. Listen to me, son. Listen to me. It's important that you get this plan straight. It's important that every detail must be followed. It's important that your obedience be absolute, completely. Because I trusted you, Noah. And Noah, I barely got trust right now. So I wouldn't push it. I could build this ark on my own in the middle of dry land and have every animal 2 by 2 walk in it and set angels around the bottom with swords, and no man would come in it, and it would be done exactly as I said, because I have all the ability, I have all the strength, and I have all the authority to do it. But Noah, I'm going to choose you because you're the only man that I can trust. Out of 7.3 billion people in the world, Matt, you're the only boy that I can trust to do this. Will you do this? And he said, yes. He said, not only that, God, but I'll do as you command me. You see, when we look at the word command, it says that God commanded, Genesis 6:22. It says, so Noah did accordingly everything that the Lord had commanded. And the word commanded is a past tense phrase. It means to give an authoritative order. What is the power of God? It's the ability, it's the strength, and it's the authority to do. And isn't it funny how when the guy that has all the ability, all the strength, and all the authority gives you an order, a command, he is fully capable of having that command authorized and certified and accredited that it is true, because there is nobody else more authority than he is to give you an order like that. And so even the word, the definition of the word, carries the third character of God's power, authority. It is to give an authoritative order. Guess what? Second root meaning is to direct with specific authority. Did God not say it's going to be this many cubits wide, this many cubits long? It's going to be built right here. It's going to be made out of gopher wood. It's going to be made with tar. He gave them specific authoritative orders. Now, when God breaks it down like that to you and says, Johnny, I don't want you to do this. I want you to do that, and you need to do it this way. I'm commanding you. That means I'm the one with all the authority, and I'm giving you an authoritative command with specific details in the authority. Commanded. Didn't even know that, huh? Noah obeyed completely. No instruction was overlooked. He did it God's way, not his way. He did it wholeheartedly. Turn to your books to Numbers 20, verse 8. Now, Noah obeyed God completely. No instruction was overlooked. No instruction was overlooked. No instruction was overlooked. When God gives you a command, it usually has specific, authoritative instructions. So it's important that no instruction was overlooked. He did as God has commanded, and he did it God's way. He did it wholeheartedly, and guess what? It made God smile. But then there's one patriarch in the Bible. You may know his name as Moses. Moses was a great man. He was. He still is. He sits on the throne with the 24 elders. He's one of the men that come back. And when I get to know Moses, I'm going to say, Moses, why? Why, Moses? You were my hero. You was born in Pharaoh's heart. You was on a river floating. You was raised. You killed a man. You ran and you stood in the wilderness for 40 years. You're my testimony. Because I found my purpose by knowing that I ran for 17 years, but you ran for 40. And then you thought that God didn't call you, so you waited for him all. And then you finally did like me, you went and did what you were supposed to do. But Moses, why? Why in the midst of your calling, after almost 40 years, would you have partial obedience? Instead of wholeheartedly obedience. I don't know, but let me read it to you real quick. Because see, listen, Moses did not obey God wholeheartedly all the time. None of us do. It's a hard thing to do. Wholeheartedly, God, that's a lot to ask for. But let me tell you the consequences. Noah obeyed God wholeheartedly all the time. And I believe he was around 700 years old when he passed. That's a long time of obeying God. So don't you cry about your little situation. But I have more sin to know that. Really? You think so? You had monkeys having sex with a kangaroo? Oh, no, maybe not that distorted. That's what I thought. It was so bad the guy had to destroy the world? Really? There's no new sin under the sun, the Bible says. It's the same sin. So shut your mouth. Okay? It was proportioned to the time that they lived in back then. There was no internet, social media, pornography, videotapes, but they just went and watched it and did it themselves in the flesh. You see what I'm saying? It's the same sin. Murder was murder. Stealing was stealing. Everything was still the same. Okay? So we get to know Moses. And if Moses would have did what he was supposed to do, Moses would have reaped the reward. And we take it up in verse 8, chapter 20. God instructed Moses, he says, take the rod, and you and your brother Aaron assemble the congregation and speak and speak and speak to the rock before their eyes, that they may yield its water. And you shall thus bring forth water for them out of the rock, and let the congregation and their beasts drink. You see, it wasn't about Moses. It wasn't about after 39 years of you obeying God, you decide in the ninth inning, in the extra inning, in overtime, in the fourth quarter, instead of sucking it up, you let it go. This is not time for quitting. This is not time for giving up. And this is what Moses needs to know. I wonder where Aaron was. How come Aaron didn't speak to his brother? How come Aaron didn't encourage his brother? How come he didn't say, Moses, we got to get this right? But oh, the blind led the blind that day, and it cost them both. So Moses took the rod from before the Lord. Give me that rod, God, I will do this. Got an attitude of obedience. That wasn't enthusiastic. That wasn't energetic. That wasn't fully and completely. That wasn't earnestly. Moses, don't you know about Noah and his obedience? I'm sure you did by then. But he chose. He chose. He chose. He chose. You choose. You choose. You choose to have disobedience. It was taught to him a long time ago. There was a lot of disobedience going on in his 80 years of living before he started his ministry. And so Moses, having bad habits of the past, still having that temper that made him go kill a man, still being stubborn in his ways, no matter how many miracles that God has done for you, don't you ever get familiar with the anointing of God in your life. Foolishness. To take a great man like this, to think one of the greatest things ever, to end his life like this. But God left Moses in this Bible and the story for us to know that obedience is better than sacrifice any day. So Moses took the rod from before the Lord. Notice that? And I was reading, I was like, God, you had to do that too. Joshua, get ready. I'm getting rid of this fool. I am tired of 40 years of this. I got to fight with Moses every time I ask him to do something. This ain't the first time. This ain't the first time Moses got familiar with God. This is not God showed him too much. Remember, Moses was the only man to stand in the presence of God. And God said, but let me put you in this mountain, and then my shadow will walk by you. Because no flesh can stand in the presence of God. Oh God, I don't ever want to know you like that. Just keep me where I have to wonder, is that you, Lord? Okay, I'll do it. Because see, when you come to me, I gotta do it. See, every time that God gets close with one of us, heathen of this, we gotta disrespect him and disobedience. Why? Because you're hard-headed. So Moses took the rod from before the Lord, just as he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly before the ark and said to them, listen now, you rebels. First of all, what's up with that attitude, dude? Don't you know you about to get in trouble? You already leaving the classroom, the board of reprimand and instructions with an attitude. It's like when we tell the kids, go clean your room. And then we go in for inspection. Well, that didn't get done. Didn't I tell you what to do? I told you to dump the nasty trash can, get all the stuff from under your bed, pick up the trash, make up the bed, open the window, turn the freshener, and turn off that TV. And then we go in there and the trash is still on the bed. The window ain't open. TV on. And then we go in and say, didn't I tell you what to do? That's exactly what Moses did. Had a tube before the man. Okay? It can't be good when you got a tube. Did you not see the ground open up, Moses, in these 40 years and swallow up a whole nation? Did you not say who was on the side of the Lord and those that sinned against God? You killed them? Did you not see manna fall for breakfast from heaven every day? Did you not see me part the Red Sea? Moses, are you serious? Are you serious? You got an attitude. See, I should have not left the Red Sea and let Pharaoh kill down you little monkeys. But I got a plan that's bigger than you, so I'm going to have to use you. Because I'll have mercy on who I want to have mercy. I'll have compassion on who I want to have compassion. And so Moses, with his attitude, took his rod as the Lord had commanded. And Moses gathered the people, him and Aaron. He said, listen, you rebels. Now, shall we bring water from this rock? Me and my brother? It's God. It's God. I'm mad at God, so I'm doing the weak thing today. See, the gift is without repentance. So God's going to do it regardless, and then he'll deal with the man and woman of God behind closed doors, privately. You see what I'm saying? Because it's not about you. It wasn't about Moses. It was about him being obedient and following God completely, fully, earnestly, wholeheartedly. But he still went on and did what God said, didn't he? That's some of y'all thinking right now. Well, okay, that's why that bus gonna hit you as soon as you walk out the door. Okay? Well, I still had part. I still did it. That's why God gonna pimp slap you soon as you get back to the car. Shabam! Let him go, Holy Ghost. Let him go. Don't worry about it. I'm done with him. So he said, shall we bring forth water for you out of this rock? And then he asking them a question. Yeah, Moses, do your job, fool. Yeah. Then Moses lifted up his hand and he struck the rock twice. Now, God brought that to me too. He said twice. Where in the Bible did I have Moses strike anything twice? It was one time. That was another little throw the rock at God. You want me to do it? I'll do it my way. Woo! It was disobedience all over this text. And y'all, this Bible been written for a long time, and y'all ain't never read it like this, huh? Because you wasn't reading between the lines under the anointing. You was just reading it as a story. You better listen to this word and read it as what it is. Disobedience. So he struck the rock twice with his rod, and water came forth abundantly, and the congregation and their beasts drank. Now you're going to get your whooping for it. You see, you know how you're in the grocery store, and you wrapped up, and your mama picks you and said, when we get home, you get me that butter. Because I told you not to act the food different. Can you imagine Aaron and Moses? Oh, Lord. I can tell you this. When you sin against God, you feel that the anointing is gone instantly. The anointing was there, the rock struck, and then all of a sudden you just felt destitute. Like you didn't even know God. I can imagine being in the presence of God when David was saying, God, whatever you do, don't take your presence from me. I imagine Moses' presence was instantly taken from him, and the anointing left him. Because if the anointing would have stayed by him, it probably would have struck him dead for his disobedience. What said to Moses and Aaron, because you have not trusted me, because you have not believed me to treat me as holy in the sight of the sons of Israel. Are you out your mind? You got familiar with me in front of my people? Like we like that? You forgot that I am the creator and you are the clay? You thought we was like this, Holmes? We ain't like that, bro. You do what I tell you to do, when I tell you to do it, and how I tell you to do it. You got that? Now I know you mad. I know you've been in this desert for 39 years. I know these people got you upset and frustrated. I know they're stiff-necked, bitterness. Don't come to church on Sundays. Don't pay the tithes and offering. I know, Mike. I know what kind of people you got. Okay? But that don't give you the right to get familiar with me. If I said go preach and there's 3 people in church, you better go preach. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh yeah, ouch. I'm cool. You made me read this before I preach it. I'm good. He says, in the sight of the sons of Israel, therefore, you shall not bring this assembly. You, Moses, you will not lead these people into the land that I have promised. I imagine a lot of pastors today think that they've been doing God's work. I've been preaching 30, 40 years. I imagine there's a lot of Moseses. And I imagine they didn't really study that last part in Moses' last act of disobedience. I imagine they too might be familiar with God because they have a 30, 40,000 member church and live in a $2, $3, $4, $10 million house and drive fancy things. I imagine you can get familiar with God because you can build a big old church and it has granite floors and you have a 30-man praise and worship team and 100 men and women choir and you have all the accolades that come with living for God. I can imagine you can get familiar with God as my man Smith Wigglesworth didn't. He didn't get familiar because he had the healing power in his hands and he would kick cancer and throw tumors across the room. I imagine you can get familiar with God because you can eloquently speak each Sunday and God just comes and anoints you and you're able to preach the word of God with power and demonstration and give people goosebumps. I imagine all the pride of the flesh can cause you to be familiar with God and to presume that it's okay, God. You ain't gonna really get mad at me, are you? I'll just do this and ask you to forgive me. Don't get familiar. You see, when God asks us to do something, or better yet, when God asks us to stop doing something, do we obey Him wholeheartedly? What's the difference of God asking you to do something and God tells you to stop doing something? Is it still a command? Exactly. So why do you struggle to do what He asks you to do and you don't do what He tells you to stop doing? Oh, gotcha, huh? Let me say it again. So why do you struggle to do what He asks you to do and you don't do what He tells you to stop doing? Somebody give me the answer. Because you're like the children of Israel, hard-headed, bitter, stiff-necked. And none of them saw the promised land, not even Moses. I think Moses hung around the people too long. Don't get familiar with God. He is the Alpha and the Omega. He is the Almighty. He has all the power. He's incomprehensible. He's infinity. You can't measure Him. You can't put Him in a box. He's the creator of heaven and earth. He speaks the audible word. Let it be, so be it. It is done. He is the ultimate source of all power. There is none like Him. Never, ever before.
Amen.
Don't get familiar with Him and practice partial obedience, because to Him it is disobedience. And you will suffer the consequences. Not by Him, because it's not His will that you would suffer. But He has another command. He has an audible command that He spoke that He is not mocked. And even though I can stop anything, this is a law of the Spirit. And I don't change any law of the Spirit for anybody, spirit or flesh. Oh, you can take that from God right there. That was said in authority and power. It's a law of the Spirit. And whatsoever a man sows, so shall he do. It's a law of the Spirit that any angel in heaven turned on Him and betrayed Him. It was an unforgivable sin. Be careful of those laws of the Spirit. Don't become familiar with them. Keep your reverence and respect. Wholeheartedly obey God. Fully, completely, sincerely, enthusiastic, energetic, heartily, and earnestly. The Holy Spirit wants me to put this $1 million question out there again. And I want you to just meditate on it. When God asks us to do something, or to stop doing something, do you obey Him wholeheartedly? And let's move on. I don't know who that's for. Noah's obedience, this was so beautiful about it. Noah's obedience was tied to his love, to love God supremely, and to his trust, to trust God completely. When you love God and trust God, guess what it's going to produce? It's going to produce intimacy in your relationship. Oh, I don't think you did. Intimacy is the source of the love that words cannot express. It's not a flesh. It's a feeling that is spiritual, that words and lovemaking cannot express. It is the central source of power of love in a relationship. It is intimacy. And see, because Noah loved God supremely, because he trusts God completely, he had intimacy with God. So in his obedience, he was able to wholeheartedly obey God with nothing of himself, no attitudes. Because see, he didn't just have a relationship. See, Moses loved God. And Moses had a relationship with God. And Moses practiced partial disobedience, but Moses didn't have that intimacy with God. He had the familiarity with God. That's the difference. You get that? You see, and because Noah had that intimacy with God in his relationship, guess what? He was secure. He was secure in knowing his Father. And he didn't question the word of all those minute instructions. He did not hesitate. He didn't procrastinate. He didn't question or delay God's request. He simply obeyed his every command. When you have that trust and relationship and intimacy with God, and God says, Johnny, I want you to go, and I want you to do this. And it seems unbelievable, but God, how am I going to do it? And then when Jesus told the disciples to go, don't bring no shoes, don't bring no clothes, don't bring no food, just go. And anybody that rejects you, you shake the dust off of your feet and you keep wondering. Don't worry about how you will live and how you will survive. Just trust me. And because his disciples loved Jesus and they were intimate with Jesus, they trusted him and obeyed him. And they went. Oh, that's what God wants from us, beloved. Imagine if he could get a room full of people to love him like the Lord did. Oh, I say just a room full. I'm sure it's very hard to find people that will obey God wholeheartedly. But I want to encourage you to start. You see in Samuel 15, in 1 Samuel 15:22, it says obedience is better than sacrifice. Listen to this, listen to this. Obedience, ready? Obedience unlocks understanding. Ooh. I don't think you heard me. Obedience unlocks understanding. But see, God don't have to waste his time and explain it to you first, knucklehead. He just wants you to go do it. When you do it, you get understanding after you've done it. So therefore, we can make the phrase and say that obedience unlocks understanding. Understanding to what? Listen, once you obey God, then he brings you into an understanding. Often we try to offer God partial obedience. Partial obedience is this, existing only in part. Partial obedience is incomplete. That is the definition. We want to pick and choose how much of obedience we want to walk in. We want to pick and choose. That's why the Supreme Court said pick and choose. They said, oh, let's just authorize same-sex marriage, you know. That really is not a command no more of God. Either it's homosexuality. It's really not a command no more. Let's take that one and love our neighbors. Yeah, let's throw that one away. We don't need it. It's old. It's outdated. It's old-fashioned. It's called partial obedience. Who do you think you are? See, in partial obedience, we make a list of commands that we like to obey, and then we ignore the ones that we think are unreasonable. Now that's so unfair, they can't get married. Oh my gosh, really? Are we living in that time still? That is so unfair. Brothers, let's pass a law. Okay, it's passed. We fixed that. Let's continue to fix all the things that are unreasonable that is a command from God. Well, I mean, we don't really care anymore, do we? We're men. We're familiar with God. We're familiar with God. Did God really mean that? No, he didn't mean that anymore. That was 5,000 years ago, silly. Those rules don't apply to us no more. We're men. We have evolved. Look how smart we are. We can build buildings. We can go to the moon. That's all we can go to is the moon, but we can get there. Look how smart we are. Gee, we don't need to follow God and obey him no more. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to have partial obedience. The whole world is shut together, live together, do everything together. There's no need for marriage no more. There's no need for anything. Yeah, sleep with each other's wives. Let's do that. That's called swinging. Okay? Yeah, let's come on, dude. Let's just get real. This is 2015. God is dead. Those stupid rules don't apply no more. We are the human race. There's 7.3 billion of us, dude. God can't destroy us like he did before. Nah. Yeah, dude. Real. This is the world, guys. This is how familiar we are with God. This is partial obedience. We're so sly, so sneaky, and so subtle that we forget about all morality because it's something of the past. And then we become like Moses, familiar with the anointing of God. But men are starting to speak out about the warning the wolves is about to befall the United States. See, God is not mocked. Whatsoever a nation sows, so will a nation reap. Do you understand? So we make these little rules up and we say, well, that command was difficult. There's no way we can follow that. That's too difficult, buddy. Let's just find an easier one to follow. Like, love your brother. I mean, really love him. Like, sleep with him. You know, it's like, yeah, let's try those rules. Those work better. Let's spread love, not wrong. Let's not have nobody saying that that's wrong. No, nobody needs to be like that anymore. This is love everything. Well, as for you in my house, we are serving the Lord. And we don't have to love everything. I have to love every man and woman, but I don't have to love your stinky sin. I don't have to love your wicked ways. I don't have to love the things that you try to make me do. As for me and my house, I choose to stand on this side because I don't want the ground to open up when Moses said, who is on the side of the Lord? And the rest of them that says, oh, those are old rules, Moses. The ground opened up and swallowed them. So we make these little rules like, I'll go to church, okay? But I'm not going to tithe or give. And then we'll say, I'll say hi to that person. Hi. But I'm not going to ever forgive you. This is what we do. We get to pick and choose and walk in that partial obedience. God said to forgive them. God said to love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. I don't want to. Okay, this is what I'll do, God. I'll compromise with you. I'll say hi to them. That's the best I do. And God, you just got to do it. Oh, okay. Fast forward 30 years, you're still in the same place. You ain't grown, you ain't been blessed, you're just still there, running in a circle. Remind me of my little brother, just circling the wagon. Now you're going to get old and crusty, you're still circling the wagon. You have not fulfilled your call. You have not achieved what God put you on the earth for. You have not moved forward spiritually. You have not grown maturely because you still practice partial disobedience. And then you wonder why your life is miserable. Just a thought. Or we do this. This is my favorite one. I'll get saved, but I'm not going to change. Oh, the world has gone to hell! They don't even care no always say, brother, I ain't got to change. Okay, well, you just keep on, Moses. Continue to be familiar and watch what your reward will be. You see, partial obedience is really disobedience. Wholehearted obedience is done with joy and enthusiasm. Psalms 102 says, serve the Lord with gladness. Psalms 119 and 33 in the Living Bible says, David says, just tell me what you want me to do, and I will do it, Lord. As long as I live, I'll wholeheartedly obey you. And you know, he didn't say that in the beginning. He had to learn that. Just like you learn disobedience, you learn full obedience. That's why you're getting this word today. In closing, James 2 and 24. And I like taking quotes from different Bibles because I can break it down. It's in the Common Era Bible, and this is what it says. It says, we please God by what we do, and not only by what we believe. You see, now I know that it's not by works that we are saved, it's by grace. But when we are saved, guys, when you surrender everything, we are required to obey. If you ain't saved, you ain't got to do nothing. But if you're saved, don't use that being obedience isn't work. Being obedience is a sacrifice. It's a submission. It's a sign of love and trust and respect. Don't twist the scriptures and try to bring that little stuff in that allow you to continue to live in disobedience. Let's just call it what it is. In some parts of the law, you obey God, but in this part, you don't want to obey God. Why? The Holy Spirit says, go back to the same question, Mike. When God asks us to do something or to stop doing something, do you obey him wholeheartedly? I had to put it in my own self. And I had to give God my own answer. And I chose to submit wholeheartedly. And I said, God, forgive me for my partial disobedience, for my distrust when I get discouraged, for my lack of love and not loving you first and foremost, for worrying about the things that I shouldn't be worried about. Because Jesus said this, and this is the end, in John 14 and 15. Jesus said, if you love me, you will obey. You will keep my commandments. And I love the way the Amplified Version says it because they ask you like this. They say, if you really love me, if you really love me, you will keep and obey my commandments. Let your love for God produce wholehearted obedience. God's spouse. And that happens.